The story is about a young American student named Jake, who came to Paris to study. Jake loved watching movies and spent most of his time alone because he didn't know anyone in the city. One day during a student protest at his college, a French girl named Sophie noticed him standing by himself. She walked up to him and asked, "I see you here every day, but you never talk to anyone. Are you shy or just not interested in people?" Jake felt embarrassed and explained, "I'm from America and I don't know anyone here yet, so I keep to myself." Sophie then called over her twin brother Lucas and introduced them. The three young people sat down and started talking about movies and life. Making new friends. When police arrived to break up the protest, the three of them ran away together. As they walked through the streets, they discovered they all loved the same kinds of films and had similar interests. Jake felt happy because he had finally made some friends in Paris. That night, Jake wrote a letter to his mother telling her about meeting Sophie and Lucas. The next day, Lucas called and invited Jake to have dinner at their house. Jake was amazed when he saw their huge, beautiful home. He met Sophie's parents. Her mother was friendly but seemed surprised by the unexpected guest, and her father was a writer who loved French poetry. The father tried to have deep conversations with Jake about art and literature, but Jake wasn't really interested and was just being polite. Living with the siblings. Sophie's parents traveled a lot for work and were often away from home, leaving the twins alone most of the time. After dinner, the parents had to leave on another business trip. Sophie asked Jake to spend the night instead of going back to his small apartment. To convince him to stay, Sophie gave him a kiss. Jake was attracted to her and decided it might be fun to stay over. But at night, something strange happened. When Jake came out of the bathroom, he peeked into Sophie's room and was shocked to see her sleeping in the same bed as her brother Lucas. Unusual relationships. Jake felt very uncomfortable seeing the siblings sleeping together, but he didn't say anything. The next morning, Sophie came into his room and woke him up by pulling off his blanket. She seemed very comfortable being around him, even when he wasn't fully dressed. Later in the bathroom, Sophie told Jake she liked his appearance and started putting makeup on his lips. Lucas came in while she was doing this and wasn't bothered at all. He told Jake, "Our parents will be gone for a whole month. We want you to stay here with us." Jake was confused. "But we've only known each other for 3 days. You don't really know me that well." Lucas smiled and said, "That's exactly why we want you to stay, so we can get to know you better." Playing games. The three of them started playing a game where Sophie and Lucas would act out scenes from famous movies, and Jake had to guess which movie it was from. If he guessed wrong, he would have to do whatever they dared him to do. Jake was very good at this game because he had seen so many films. Sophie and Lucas were impressed and said, "We've been looking for a friend like you who understands movies the way we do." Then they suggested doing something from a movie in real life, running through an art museum like characters did in an old film. Jake was nervous because as a foreign student, getting in trouble could mean being sent back to America. But Sophie and Lucas kept pushing him until he agreed. Growing closer, they snuck into the museum and ran through it without getting caught. Afterward, they felt excited and proud of what they had done. On the way home, it started raining and they got soaked. Lucas gave Jake some dry clothes to change into. While changing, Jake found some personal photos of Sophie and kept one hidden in his clothes because he was developing feelings for her. Later, when they played their guessing game again, Lucas couldn't name a movie and had to do an embarrassing dare from Sophie. Uncomfortable situations. The next day, Lucas took Jake out to lunch. Jake asked him directly, "I've never seen anything like the relationship you have with your sister. You two sleep in the same bed and act very close. What kind of relationship is this?" Lucas explained, "When we were born, it was like we shared one soul that got split into 2 bodies. That's why we feel so connected to each other." During another game session, both Jake and Sophie lost a round and had to do a dare together. The dare was very personal and intimate, which made Jake very uncomfortable, but Sophie treated it like it was completely normal. Love and jealousy. Over time, Jake and Sophie became romantically involved, while Lucas watched and didn't seem to mind. Sophie told Jake that if they were ever forced to be apart, she would rather die than live without this lifestyle. But Jake started noticing that Lucas was becoming jealous of his relationship with Sophie. During an argument, Lucas criticized Americans and their involvement in wars. Jake defended himself, saying not all Americans were the same. The tension between the two young men kept growing. Jake told Sophie, "You've never experienced normal relationships or gone on regular dates. You just do whatever Lucas tells you to do." A real date. To show Sophie what a normal relationship was like, Jake took her out on a proper date. They had dinner at a restaurant and went to see a movie together, just the two of them. Sophie enjoyed this new experience of being treated like a regular girlfriend. Meanwhile, Lucas was spending time with another girl, which made Sophie feel jealous and hurt. She had never seen her brother with anyone else before and didn't like the feeling. The parents return. One night, all three of them decided to sleep together in an old tent that Sophie and Lucas used to play in when they were children. While they were sleeping, their parents came home unexpectedly. When the parents found all three young people sleeping together in the tent, they were shocked and disturbed by what they saw. Without waking them up, the parents quietly left some money and then left the house again. The end of the friendship. The next morning, Sophie found the money and realized her parents had seen everything. She felt ashamed and guilty about what her parents must think of her behavior. Soon after, violent protests started happening in the streets of Paris. A rock thrown by protesters broke one of their windows. Instead of staying safe inside, Lucas and Sophie decided to join the dangerous protests. Jake tried to stop them, telling them it was too dangerous and they shouldn't get involved in violence. But they wouldn't listen to him and kept moving toward the chaos. At that moment, Jake realized that Sophie and Lucas lived in their own strange world and didn't understand normal relationships or reasonable thinking. He decided he couldn't be part of their unusual lifestyle anymore. Different paths. While Lucas and Sophie ran toward the violent protest, Jake walked away in the opposite direction. He had never liked violence or chaos, and he chose to live a more normal, peaceful life. The police arrived to control the protesters with force, and the story ends with Jake going his own way, while the siblings stayed with the dangerous crowd.